Pokopia is the reason to get a Switch 2, just like how loads of people bought a Switch 1 just so that they could play Animal Crossing New Horizons. I feel like I'm seeing history repeating itself. All of the hype that came with New Horizons when it came out, nobody knew what they were doing. We were all just kind of in it together, and it was a really fantastic experience of just progressing through the game. And the same thing is happening with Pokopia, and I can't help but think, has Pokopia outshone Animal Crossing now? Have we moved on to a brand new game? Whereas Animal Crossing is a slower paced life sim focused on decorating and your daily routines and in-game socializing with the villagers, Pokopia leans more into the Pokemon franchise trope of collecting different Pokemon, in addition to a more creative and build-focused sandbox experience. Fundamentally, both games serve adjacent but not directly identical audiences. A lot of people have told me in my live streams that they want to get Pokopia, but they feel put off because they know absolutely nothing about Pokemon and they don't think they would enjoy it because of that. Animal Crossing is definitely a lot less overwhelming than Pokemon in that sense, and in my opinion appeals to a broader community. However, Pokopia definitely has some things to offer that Animal Crossing don't, and I think it's important to explore these in the hopes that the next Animal Crossing title will be better. The key selling point for Pokopia for me, something that Animal Crossing doesn't have, is that personalized experience with all of the Pokemon you live with. Whereas in Animal Crossing, when the villagers kind of just pop up on your island, they just pop up and they're there. You can go on villager hunts, but it's not really the same as in Pokopia, where you've actually got to figure out what their specific habitat is. Not only that, you're the one who builds their home in Pokopia, you get to decide, and all of the Pokemon have different likes and interests based on what Pokemon they are, and you use that in order to build their home and make it great for them. Whereas in Animal Crossing New Horizons, you don't really get that experience. You've got the Happy Home Paradise DLC where you kind of get that experience, but I don't think it's the same thing. And going forwards, I really hope the next Animal Crossing game takes a note out of Pokopia's book and makes inviting villagers into your world feel like a more rewarding and meaningful experience. And also, everything just feels a lot more alive in Pokopia. There are over 300 Pokemon that you can collect in this game and have live with you. You can build houses for all of them, and in Animal Crossing New Horizons, you can only have a maximum of 10 villagers living with you, so naturally I think it doesn't feel as alive. Given that the Switch 2 has hardware that's much better than the Switch 1, I would really love to see a new Animal Crossing game which actually allows you to have more villagers, because that is something that Pokopia does have over it. Another major difference between them is that in Pokopia you do have a lot more freedom in the world building. Animal Crossing New Horizons did get a Switch 2 update, and it came with the ability to start fresh with a dream world, a dream island, which is essentially just like a sandbox island that you can build on that's different to your main one, which I thought was really fantastic. Although in Pokopia, you actually have 5 areas from the offset, 4 of which have a different vibe, and then 1 of which is your sandbox area. Despite New Horizons having the brand new sandbox Dream Island, I do feel like Pokopia has a one-up with all of the different areas, all with a different vibe and something different that you want to do with them. And not only that, the terraforming in all of the worlds is so much easier because you can break the blocks kind of like you do in Minecraft. You can literally just change the whole entire world in any single way that you like. And this is made significantly easier as well post-game when you unlock Magnemite, who basically gives you creative mode control. New Horizons terraforming and building in general, I do think is a lot more clunky and feels more outdated to Pokopia, and given how crazy and dedicated Animal Crossing fans are when it comes to having the perfect island, I think it would be a great step forward in the next game to improve how terraforming and being creative works. Another side of the world of Pokopia that I does think hit the nail on the coffin is the lore and the backstory. The fact that it actually has this kind of deep post-apocalyptic story, I think is quite cool. Animal Crossing New Horizons Horizons doesn't really have a backstory. It kind of does, but not really. It would definitely be nice to have a lot more lore put into the game other than just you're moving into a town and you've got some villagers there who all have some cute dialogue. Maybe they could introduce more missions into Animal Crossing, just like Pokemon has. With Animal Crossing New Horizons, certain special NPCs will have missions or tasks for you to do, like Tom Nook, but in Pokopia there's a lot more to them, which I definitely think adds to the world building too. That's not to say that Pokopia is infinitely better than Animal Crossing, because I don't think it is. Animal Crossing New Horizons most certainly has a much bigger community around it. Given that Pokemon, despite being the biggest franchise in the world, is niche and may not be suitable for people who don't like Pokemon, Animal Crossing is basically free for everyone. It's not like you have to know who the villagers are, like you kind of have to know what Pokemon are. It's a lot more broadly appealing and as such has a much bigger community. I also think Animal Crossing New Horizons seemingly has better events. We don't actually know what all of the events are going to be in Pokopia yet because they've only introduced literally one. I'm sure they will announce more throughout the year in the future, but I do think Animal Crossing New Horizons has much better temporal validity. That was an academic, pretentious way of me saying that it has replayability all throughout the year. You have all of the different events in the game. You also have seasons, which Pokopia doesn't have. I do also think right now Animal Crossing New Horizons has significantly better items that you can get rather than in Pokopia, which actually has quite basic items, and I found that my builds are getting quite repetitive as I've been playing and building stuff. But here's the thing, Pokopia can just add brand new stuff. To me, that doesn't feel like a game problem with Pokopia because they can literally just update it with more stuff. Animal Crossing New Horizons, they can't necessarily update that game with more than 300 new villagers in your world, right? So in that sense, Pokopia has most certainly become a genre disruptor. And although it may not be a serious competitor of Animal Crossing, or most certainly not a replacement, what I do think it can do is pave the way forward in terms of the future of Animal Crossing. Pokopia, I feel, has exposed the weaknesses of Animal Crossing New Horizons and what was wrong with it before I even knew there was anything wrong with it. I really hope that the next Animal Crossing game comes with that really deep villager interaction like Pokopia has. It's not just me interacting with the Pokemon interact with other Pokemon, and they all interact with each other differently depending on who they are and what they do, and depending on their personalities. And the dialogue doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel repetitive. It all feels really, really interesting and funny. I want to just stand there and watch and see what the Pokemon do as they interact with each other. And I want to see that in the next Animal Crossing game. I want to see greater customization, like how Pokopia has house building kits. What about making house building so much easier in Animal Crossings? What about custom builds? What about bigger and more meaningful ways that you can actually terraform and change the world around you? Fundamentally, Animal Crossing and Pokopia are both very different games in the same genre. I don't think it's fair to say that Pokopia is just a knockoff of Animal Crossing and Minecraft combined, or some other thing that I see people saying. It is just its own separate experience, but there is a lot that Animal Crossing can learn from it, and it makes me excited for the development of both games, and honestly any other brand new game that comes along in the genre too, because to me this just feels like a very defining moment for the cozy life sim gaming genre, and I'm really excited to see where Pokopia goes in the future. I'm excited to see what's going to happen next with Animal Crossing, given that the Switch 2 is much more powerful than the Switch 1 was, so they could do a lot more with it. It's all just exciting times. You guys let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video.